Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes of Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining on this special day of Ekadashi. I'll just read one verse on the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, which one of my devotees sent recently. Prema maya bhagavata Shri Krishnera anga tahate kahena yata gopya Krishna ranga. Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna prema. It is a part of Krishna himself, for it describes Krishna's confidential pastimes. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat Antilila. So we are so fortunate to read Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of Krishna prema. And when we read in the association of devotees, that prema magnifies multiple times. So thank you so much for joining. We will start with Canto 7, Chapter 3, text number 36. So Lord Brahma has appeared on the scene where Hiranyakashipu was offering tapasya, and then Hiranyakashipu offers around 10 shlokas to Lord Brahma glorifying him, and then he comes to his demands. So he asked yesterday that he wants to become immortal. That means he doesn't want to be killed by anyone who has been created by Lord Brahma. So in a very smart way, trying to ask or trick Lord Brahma. So let's see what he asks further. Text 36. Nantar bahir diva naktam anyasmad api cha yudhai na bhumau na ambari mrityur na narair na mrigair api. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grant me that I not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon, nor by any human being or animal. Purport. Hiranyakashipu was very much afraid of Vishnu's becoming an animal to kill him, because his brother had been killed by Vishnu when the Lord took the shape of a boar. He was therefore very careful to guard against all kinds of animals. But even without taking the shape of an animal, Vishnu could kill him by hurling his Sudarshana Chakra, which can go anywhere without the Lord's physical presence. Therefore, Hiranyakashipu was careful to guard against all kinds of weapons. He guarded against all kinds of times, space, and countries because he was afraid of being killed by someone else in another land. There are many other planets, higher and lower, and therefore he prayed for the benediction of not being killed by any resident of any of those planets. There are three original deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Hiranyakashipu knew that Brahma would not kill him, but he also wanted not to be killed by Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. Consequently, he prayed for such a benediction. Thus, Hiranyakashipu thought himself securely protected from any kind of death caused by any living entity within this universe. He also carefully guarded against natural death which might take place within his house or outside of the house. Okay. So here's an interesting flow chart or decision making. How can a person be killed? So Hiranyakashipu was already asked. He cannot be killed by anyone from created by Lord Brahma. Well, then someone can die by an animal, Prabhupada is saying. Okay, animals also outrooted that no animal can kill him. Prabhupada is saying because Varahadev took a boar form and killed Hiranyaksha. So that was very fresh in his mind. We read in Canto, in just the last chapter, how he pacified all his relatives. So that was very fresh in his mind. So then, well, someone can die in the daytime or in the nighttime. Day and night, two parts of primarily the day. That's how the day is divided. Or so he outrooted that option also. What about in the air or on the ground? So if we see all these combinations, it may seem like there is no way for Hiranyakashipu to be killed, because he cannot die with any weapon, even Sudarshana. He cannot die with no one can kill him. No resident of other planets can kill him. No animal can kill him. No human can kill him. No weapon can kill him. And what about the time or country? So no time can, neither the daytime he can be killed, nor in the nighttime, nor inside the home, nor outside the home. So where will he be killed? It may seem like that he is trying to trick Lord Brahma by asking all these benedictions so that, in short, he can become immortal and never die. So, very smart in trying to trick. But we will see later that how Lord is the best amongst the cheaters. If one tries to trick the Lord, then the Lord will trick him or her. So we cannot trick the Lord. We cannot trick these great personalities. So, any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So, in previous verse, text 35, he is telling that, please let me not meet death from any kind of living entities created by you. So, Lord Vishnu definitely is not created by Lord Brahma, who himself created Lord Brahma. So how come Lord Brahma give benediction against the Sudarshan Chakra?
Well, first of all, he's asking all these things, and Lord Brahma is, sometimes they give these benedictions. Again, I have to go and ask Lord Brahma. But the point here is that, and therefore sometimes it is, in other pastime it is said, Krishna jokingly says, well, you devotees, sometimes you give these tough benedictions and I have to take different forms. It's a joking pastime. You should consult me before giving these special benedictions. he tells that to Yudhishthira. Once I've heard, and to Lord Brahma also I've heard it in a joking way. But the point is that Krishna's holds the vow or the benediction given by his devotee. So if Brahmaji has given some benediction, and Brahmaji is no ordinary being, he knows past, present and future. So he knows how Hiranyakashipu will be killed. He knows that in advance. We may not know that, but he knows that how is his death arranged, or that pastime is arranged. So it may seem to us that he is going against, but actually he is fulfilling the Lord's will, or he is nourishing the Lord's pastime. Because that's how Lord has. If there is no adventure, if he would have not asked these difficult benedictions, then there will be no fun. Then why would we say, okay, why did Lord Nrsimhadev appear in such a different form? So these episodes, these pastimes, these benedictions are enhancing the rasa.
I have a point to make.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu's. This is Bhadra Danvat, everybody. What Hiranyakashipu is thinking, that the form of Vishnu such as Varaha are all created by Brahma. He's thinking that way. And then he's thinking at the same time, but Vishnu is without a form. He thinks Vishnu has no form. And if he is without a form, throws his chakra and other weapons, my boon will be useless. This is his worry. And that's why he's saying that any weapons, even Sudarshan chakra, because he's thinking that way. In that is his consciousness. That's why he says no weapons. And that's why we know what happened for them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just a small fact, Dandavat, that some people say that Sudarshan Chakra was gifted to Krishna by Agnidev, Lord Agni, fire god. And then Prabhupada says that somewhere that actually this is not true. Krishna always is in possession of Sudarshan Chakra. And so again, there are so many pastimes about weapons appearing, and nobody really knows who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If they knew it, they won't be demons. Back to Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Raghunandan Das. Sudarshan Chakra is not just a weapon per se. He is also a devotee of the Supreme Lord. So Sudarshan Chakra might be used as a weapon in some situations. It's not like a normal weapon that Hiranyakashipu was conceiving of. He was thinking weapons as like swords or some instruments or something. An instrument is a non-living entity, and it just used by somebody to cause some harm to others. But Sudarshan Chakra was not a weapon in that classification. The Sudarshan Chakra was a devotee of the Supreme Lord, just like Garuda was a devotee of the Supreme Lord. So Sudarshan Chakra doesn't get benchmarked in that category as a weapon as Hiranyakashipu is thinking, or any other living being might be thinking in this creation. So Sudarshan Chakra is a special one.
Here Srila Vishwanath Chakra, I am repeating Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary, and that it is mentioned. He is mentioning the forms of Vishnu such as Varaha, all created by Brahma, but Vishnu is without form. This is the mentality of this consciousness of of Hiranyakashipu. If he, without form, throws his chakra or other weapons, my boon will be useless. This is my worry. Thus let me not be destroyed by any weapon or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, all devotees, Prabhujis, Matajis, for your nice comments. Let's read the last two verses of this chapter. Would someone like to read who has not read yesterday?
Yes. Text 37-38. Vyasubhir va sumadibha samudbhir dhruva sura sura mahorake apratidvandantam yuddhe ekapatyam cha dehinam sarvesham lokapalanam mahinam yathatmanah tapo yoga prabhavanam yannarishyati kahirshachita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grant me that I not meet death from any entity, living or non-living. Grant me further that I not be killed by any demigod or demon, or by any other snake from the lower planets. Since no one can kill you in the battlefield, you have no competitor. Therefore, grant me the benediction that I too may have no rival. Give me sole lordship over all the living entities and presiding deities, and give me all the glories obtained by in that position. Furthermore, give me all the mystic powers attained by long austerities and the practice of yoga, for these cannot be lost at any time. Lord Brahma obtained his supreme position due to long austerities and penances, mystic yoga, meditation, and so on. Hiranyakashipu wanted a similar position. The ordinary powers achieved by mystic yoga, austerities, and other processes are sometimes vanquished, but the powers obtained by the mercy of the Lord are never vanquished. Hiranyakashipu therefore wanted a benediction that would never be vanquished. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 3rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagvatam, entitled Hiranyakashipu's Plan to Become Immortal. So Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So he has written so wonderfully that how we are all actually, our biggest fear is death, and that's why we always try to contemplate how to avoid it. Like Yamraj in the form of Yudhishthira Maharaj says, nobody thinks they will be, the biggest. Sorry, that is not relevant here. But everybody knows about death, but nobody thinks that death will come. But we always tend to contemplate that how to avoid death. At least Hiranyakashipu here is definitely contemplating each and every scenario, very carefully choosing. So he doesn't want to die by any living or a non-living entity. So that he thinks he's covered everything, all the shades of black, white, and grey. No, do not want to be killed by demigod or demon or by snake. He cannot die in the battlefield. He doesn't want any rival. He wants lordship over all the living entities, deciding deities. So he wants to lord over the universe, and he wants all the mystic powers, and that cannot be lost by anything. But Prabhupada says no, everything given by anybody else is temporary. Only Supreme Lord can give supreme mercy that is eternal, that cannot be vanquished. And so we will see what happens with this benediction. So back to you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, any other comments or questions in this text?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, can I ask a very silly question? Please forgive me if I'm asking that one.
No, silly questions are best. Please ask.
Yeah. So, okay. Hiranyakashipu asked, he will be not killed by any kind of weapons or any kind of persons or animals. But why he did not ask, I will not be die because of any internal disease? So that's also possible option, right?
By disease, I think he covered the natural thing we read somewhere. covered in and out. Natural death, right? Read this last line of the previous purport. He also carefully guarded against natural death, which might take place in the house or outside the house.
Okay.
Where will be a diseased person be? Not lying on the doorstep, right? Either in the hospital or in the home. So
yeah, I was just asking about like sudden death, like heart attack, something like that. So I was just thinking that.
yes, no, it's a good question. Very relevant in this day and age, because disease is one of the biggest factors. But he was very, very powerful. We will see how he asking for all these siddhis and all. Yes, disease is too small for Hiranyakashipu. But yes, for Kali Yuga beings, it's a big thing, because so many diseases. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Harish Prabhuji. So,
Yes, sir.
first line that then mean that I not meet death from any entity living or non-living, but Supreme Personal Godhead is the supreme living entity, right?
He is the source of everything. He is not just an ordinary living entity. He is the eternal, the Adi Purusha. He is not just a living entity. And the other connection which comes in this regard, that the nails, which we will see later, nails are considered not living and not dying, right? Because nails, that's a weapon, or somewhere I have read that because he asked this benediction, so that can also be related to nails also, because nails are considered in that Achintya Bheda Bhed category. But yes, Supreme Lord is not just a living entity. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not just a ordinary jiva.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, let's do a quick summary of this chapter. This chapter 3, entitled Hiranyakashipu's Plan to Become Immortal. So in the last chapter, we discussed that how Hiranyakashipu pacified the relatives, Mata Diti, Hiranyaksha's wife and her children, etc. Gave multiple stories of king of Ushinara, and then Yamaraj comes and tells the story of Kulinga bird. So very nicely, he, very expert in Deshakalagya, gives the order to destroy the Brahmanical culture, etc. And then he comes to Mount Mandara, the Mandara hill, and starts to perform severe austerities, very harsh austerities, standing on his toes with arms raised in a very, very difficult position. Why? Because he wanted to get all these siddhis, all these benedictions which we just read, and become free from old age and get the ownership of Lord Brahma's planet. So basically, with these hidden agendas, he approaches and starts to perform tapasya. And the light which was coming out of his body was extraordinary. The heat, the effulgence. He didn't do anything. He was just absorbed in tapasya. Didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't lie down. For hundreds of celestial years, he was performing this harsh tapasya. His whole body was covered with ants, Valmika. The word used is Valmika. And the picture which BBT has provided, so nice picture. We can see there are the ant hills, so many ant hills are there, how Hiranyakashipu is performing tapasya. And in this, there are two pictures in this regard. First is before his body was covered with ant hill, standing on his toes with such brilliant light coming out, which was disturbing the whole atmosphere, the upper planets, the lower planets, etc. Everyone was disturbed. Even the demigods could not tolerate the extreme heat. So as a result, they approach Lord Brahma. And in text, so there's a very nice lesson that one should approach a bona fide spiritual master for solving problem, not primarily for material problems, but actually spiritual problems. Then the demigods speak a very nice thing. Yadi manyase, text number 7. If you think it is proper, then kindly stop this whole disturbance which is destroying everyone. And of course Lord Brahma knows everything, but still the demigods narrate what is going on, how this heat is destroying, etc. because of the austerity being performed by Hiranyakashipu. So please go and do something without delay. And Prabhupada mentions a very nice point in the purport of text number 12, that the whole material world, everyone is trying to become the master of various devices. Although everyone is the servant of his senses, but everyone wants to become the master. That tendency is very, very deep rooted. So one should try to become the master of one's senses, one's mind, rather than trying to become the master of everyone or even the whole world, which Hiranyakashipu wanted to. So one should become Goswami. It's a very nice lesson. Go means senses, Swami means master. Not by the dress of a sannyasi, but at least in the heart, in the consciousness, but it's not so easy, but we have to continue practicing sincerely. So they continue to offer prayers, and then finally Lord Brahma, along with other sages like Bhrigu Muni, Daksha Muni, etc., goes to that scene on his transcendental carrier, his swan, and he sees this how Hiranyakashipu's body was practically chewed up by ants, etc. The whole flesh was gone, and the prana was just being contained in the bones. So Prabhupada mentions a very nice point in the text 16 purport. One who performs severe austerities for sense gratification is fearful to the entire world, whereas a devotee who performs even a slight amount of devotional service is friend to everyone. Suhrida Sarva Bhutana. And then we discussed what's the difference in the demigod worship, how it is so harsh and severe, avidhi purvakam, one whose intelligence is stolen, and how Krishna consciousness, like Prabhupada gives the example of Prahlad Maharaj, was a very young boy, did little service, but he could attract the love of the Lord. That was his only intention. So bhakti is very easy, simple, straightforward, and the recommended path. Demigod worship is not the recommended path. And then multiple examples are also given, like watering the root of the tree, etc. So he performed that tapasya for 100 celestial years. One celestial year is equivalent to almost 6 months. So we can imagine like tens and thousands of years he was doing tapasya. And finally, Lord Brahma puts transcendental water on on Hiranyakashipu's body from his kamandalu, which is very divine, and says, okay, I will fulfill your desire. Immediately Hiranyakashipu falls flat and offers obeisance, dandavat pranam, and in a very humble way, with faltering voice, starts to offer prayers with folded hand and faltering voice in a humble mood. So that's a great lesson, that although these qualities are very divine, but he had a hidden agendas. So we can learn lesson even from a demonic personality like Hiranyakashipu, how he was praying in a very humble mood with folded hands and offering pranams, etc. And then Prabhupada mentions in great detail in text number 24's purport that how what's the difference in demigod worship and Krishna consciousness. So no matter one has desires or no desires, etc., one should approach Krishna, and then he will take care of the rest. And then finally Hiranyakashipu starts to offer prayers or glorify Lord Brahma. And he goes to great extent. The adjectives which he used to glorify Lord Brahma from text 26 onwards are basically used to the Supreme Lord. Like, oh, you are the original, you are, the three modes take your shelter, you are the cause of everything, you are omniscient, you are omnipresent, omnipotent, and you are beyond this material world, and nothing can change you, eternal time. All these prayers are words of glorification, that you are the controller of the three energies, the Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. It goes to a great extent from 26 to text number 34. He's offering prayers. Then text 35 onwards, he asks he comes to his point. All that buttering, all that flattering was for this thing, that I want these desires, which we discussed today in great details. I will not repeat all those, but in short, he was very smart that no situation could kill him. He put forward different conditions, like no animal should kill, no place should kill, no weapon should kill, etc. That basically he wanted to become immortal and get all the mystic powers, all the siddhis, etc. And this was his desire. So that's how the chapter is entitled. Hiranyakashipu plans to become immortal. We will see in the following chapters whether his plans were successful, whether he didn't, whether he became immortal or not. We'll see that later. Any comments, reflections anyone would like to share before we move on? Anyone has any comments or reflections? This was a small chapter relatively, but nice chapter. Anyone wants to share anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Raghunandan Das. One thing that becomes very clear in this chapter is Hiranyakashipu did not have a proper conception of who God is. He had a kind of an impersonal conception, and he did not have a proper conception of who Lord Brahma is, what his position is. He did not have a proper conception of who Lord Vishnu and what his position is. So he was under several misconceptions and incomplete knowledge, and based on that he chooses a particular path and says, okay, I will perform austerities and penances and I can become like Brahma. Because for him, Brahma is the topmost personality in the entire creation. And he sets his goal based on that misconception and incomplete understanding. And he chooses a wrong path based on that incorrect goal. And he goes on a totally wrong track. But whereas Prahlad had a proper conception of who God is, what is the correct process, bhakti, and so on. So his track is different. So it is like a nice compare and contrast between these two processes. And when we look around us, even in the modern world today, there are so many different spiritual paths and practices that are being propounded, and people who are even showing slight inclination towards spirituality just take to, this is also spirituality, that is also a spiritual path. But not putting some efforts in trying to find out what is the correct knowledge and what is the correct conception of God, then it puts us at a very vulnerable position. We can get cheated or exploited by fake spiritual guys in the world today, and we might even pursue some difficult austere path when we have a much simpler sublime path like bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your comments. Anyone else Any other comments or reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I have some reflections, just one reflection. So at the beginning, we saw that this chapter, in the summary, that Hiranyaksha was killed by a boar, and which is the form of Supreme Personality Godhead killed Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu was actually, he's scared, he's feared of death, and he's a demon, and I would say he's non-devotee of Lord Krishna. So that's why he wants to become immortal, and that's why he took all those austerities and to please Lord Brahma. So non-devotee is always fear of death, but the devotee who is in the higher stage, the pure devotee who is in the higher stage of bhakti, they are not fear of death. They knows that after, when I leave my body, I will go to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. So that is the difference between the non-devotee and devotee. And here the Hiranyakashipu is also, because of the scared of death, because he saw that Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord himself. That's why he is taking that plans of being immortal. Please correct me, Prabhuji, if I am say something wrong. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice comments. Anyone else? Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. What I really get from this chapter, 2 points. One is, what is your real intention when you are serving the Lord or worshipping the Lord? That is very important. Here we see that Hiranyakashipu is worshipping with the intention of becoming immortal for material gains. So we know that Bhagavatam, when we started in the first canto itself, says bhakti needs to be unmotivated and uninterrupted. So this Hiranyakashipu is uninterrupted in his penance, but he's missing the main point, which is don't have any ulterior motives. So it clearly shows why bhakti is the most superior, because a pure devotee does not have any desire when he does his worship. So another thing that struck me here is the here. So Hiranyakashipu is just like the point that Mataji said before. The eternity cannot come by any endeavor. Eternal blessings can only be given by Krishna. So a devotee with his service, he's becoming non-killable, because he is going back home, back to Godhead, and when we get the spiritual body, we are eternal. So no other method going to any demigod will work to get that. So here Hiranyakashipu is going it the wrong way. He thinks he can force eternity, but only the Lord can give eternal blessing of always service to the Lord in the spiritual world, and no other material benediction can give that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. So I have 2 comments. One is Burijan Prabhu has given very nice class saying, as soon as we say I have a desire, we create a next body. So the Hiranyakashipu has all this desire, this one desire not to be killed. But as soon as you have desire, you get attached to this material world. And it's a very, very nice class about devotees. So the only desire that we can have is to serve Krishna. That is the only desire that doesn't cause any side effects. It's a pure desire. And Bhaswati Mataji said a very wonderful point about the devotee doesn't want to, isn't fearless of death. And recently I heard a Radhika Raman Prabhu's class. It said, a devotee sees death as an invitation from Krishna to come back to Godhead. And those were my realizations. And thank you so much for summarizing and a very nice classes. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you, Hare Krishna. And nice comments by all devotees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, let's start the next chapter. Chapter 4, Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. So, someone who has not spoken today would like to start the summary.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Next, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotees. Dandavat Pranam. All praise to Srila Prabhupada. Chapter number 4. Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. This chapter fully describes how Hiranyakashipu obtained power from Lord Brahma and misused it by harassing all the living entities within the universe. By severe austerities, Hiranyakashipu satisfied Lord Brahma and obtained the benedictions he desired. After he received these benedictions, his body, which had been almost entirely consumed, was revived with full beauty and luster like gold. Nonetheless, he continued to be envious of Lord Vishnu. Unable to forget Lord Vishnu's having killed his brother, Hiranyakashipu conquered everyone in 10 directions and the 3 worlds and brought all the living entities, both demigods and asuras, under his control. Becoming the master of all places, including the residence of Indra, whom he had driven out, he began enjoying the life in great luxury and thus became mad. All the demigods but Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva came under the control of and began serving him. But despite all his material power, he was always dissatisfied because he was always puffed up, proud of transgressing the Vedic regulations. All the Brahmanas was dissatisfied with him, and they cursed him with their determination. Eventually, all the living entities within the universe, represented by the demigods and sages, prayed the Supreme Lord for relief from Hiranyakashipu's rule. Lord Vishnu informed the demigods that they and other living entities would be saved from the fearful conditions created by Hiranyakashipu. Since Hiranyakashipu was the opposer of all the demigods, the followers of the Vedas, the cows, the Brahmanas, and the religious saintly persons, and since he was envious of Supreme Lord, he would naturally be killed very soon. Hiranyakashipu's last exploit would be to torment his own son Prahlada, who was a Mahabhagavata, an exalted Vaishnava. Then his life would end. When the demigods were thus reassured by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone was satisfied, knowing that the miseries inflicted upon them by Hiranyakashipu would come to an end. Finally, Narada Muni describes the characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj and the son of Hiranyakashipu and describes how his father envied his own qualified son. In this way, the chapter ends. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, beautiful summarization by Srila Prabhupada. So here in this chapter, we can see that how Hiranyakashipu, who has become so powerful and, so engrossed in this material power, tries to terrorize everyone, including his son. And, finally he gets, killed by Lord Vishnu because the demigods and everyone takes the mercy of Lord Vishnu. So here we can see that except Lord Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, everyone were under his control. And we can see the difference between a material person and the devotee, where the material person always wants more, he is greedy. But I think we can see that how Prahlada was always never fearless. Even though he was very small, he was able to show the quality of a true devotee, and he was able to overcome, and he got even, in fact, he made his whole family liberated by his simple activity. So simply by taking Krishna consciousness, we can be even more than any powerful demon, or in this case any powerful politician or whatever, right? So that is my understanding. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Just one quick comment which I have, and this is linked to the previous chapter and in this chapter, that in the life of the demons, if something, like a dear brother was killed, Hiranyakashipu was killed, yet he didn't try to, be introspective enough to understand that his brother, who was also very, very powerful, how could he be killed? That means that the opponent was not an ordinary person. And this is more clearly seen in the life of Ravana. One by one, all his children were getting killed, who were not ordinary people. They had done a lot of tapasya to get extraordinary powers. We know that Meghnad was also known as Indrajit, that he had conquered even Indra. He had achieved so many weapons from so many celestial beings, and he was basically unconquerable. He also had a lot of benedictions. And then Kumbhakarna and so many other great warriors. One by one they were killed, and everyone was giving him this advice: don't fight with Lord Ram. Whether it was Meghnad, whether it was Kumbhakarna, whether it was Vibhishana, whether it was his wife, the other children, practically everyone gave him this advice. So rather than trying to be introspective, Ravana, the envy was growing, and that's what is seen here also. The whole point here is that Hiranyakashipu's envy was even further growing, doing more tapasya. That's what Ravana also did, doing more tapasya to defeat. Of course, it's a transcendental pastime, but we as for aspiring sadhakas, there are a lot of wonderful lessons, and especially like now in this situation that we are all in, that it's an introspective. It's a time to be introspective. That so many people are getting this disease, so many people are dying because of it, so many people are dying because of other disease. Then what will I be one? If not, what is the cure? What is the real cure? What is the absolute truth? Why are people getting disease? Why are people dying? Why? Is there a cure to birth, old age, disease, death? And these are some general ways we can, of course, we may have heard this multiple times, but it's a good way to even reach out to others and say, hey, it's time to be introspective. So just some thoughts there. Okay, let's start the chapter. We have some time. Let's start reading with the first verse. Would someone like to start? It's not read today. Yes, Kirti Mataji, please.
Dandavat to everyone. We are starting the chapter 3rd of the 7th canto. Text number 1. Shri Narada Uvacha Evam Ruta Shata Durti Hiranyakshiro Shiporata Pada Tattapasa Prito Varastasya Sudurlabhan. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Narad Muni continued, Lord Brahma was very much satisfied by Hiranyakashipu's austerity, which were difficult to perform. Therefore, when solicited for benediction, he indeed granted them, although they were very rarely to be achieved. So in this text, Narad Muni is telling to, Yudhishthira that Hiranyakashipu had done the various very difficult austerity to please Lord Brahma. And in this text, Prabhupada is saying that Lord Brahma was very much satisfied by Hiranyakashipu's austerity, and in the previous chapter we have seen that his tapasya was so hard that the fire was coming from his head, the smoke was covering entire universe, and demigod got scared about his tapasya, and then they went to the Lord Brahma and asked to save them. And by continuation of this one, Narada Muni is informing what's happening next, and that will come in the next verses. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you, Mataji. So basically all the demands he had put in the last chapter, Brahmaji said, okay, you will get it. That has to. Very ordinary, very extraordinary benedictions, but still Brahmaji granted those. So let's see what text number 2. Yes. Vijaya Mataji, you want to read, please?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. Sri Brahmovacha Tato me durlabha purusham yana runishe varana mama tatapi vitarambe anga varana yadyapi durlabhana. Translation. Lord Brahma said, O Hiranyakashipu, this benediction for which you have asked are difficulty to obtain for most men. Nonetheless, O my son, I shall grant you them, although they are generally not available. Purport. Material benediction are not always exactly worthy of being called benediction. If one possesses more and more, a benediction itself may become a curse. For just achieving material opulence in this material world requires great strength and endeavor. Maintaining it also requires great endeavor. Lord Brahma informed Hiranyakashipu that although he was ready to order him whatever he said, asked, the result of the benediction would be very difficult for Hiranyakashipu to maintain. Nonetheless, since Brahma had promised he wanted to grant all the benedictions, asked the word Durlabham indicate that one should not take benediction one cannot enjoy peacefully.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So Lord Brahma said, okay, this is a very extraordinary thing, but I will give you. But Prabhupada mentions so nice point that material benedictions are not always exactly worth of being called benedictions. Very, very interesting, because all the benedictions Hiranyakashipu asked were on a material level, and though they become a cause of problem, as Grace Nandini Mataji said, benedictions or desires are the root cause of problems, the root cause of repeated birth and death. Material desires, material benedictions. Spiritual desires, very good. Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavtad bhaktira hetu kitvai. That's also a desire, or asking for benediction. We asked Tulasi Devi, Morai Abhilash Vilas Kunja Diyo was. Or asking for service, asking for spiritual desires, asking to develop Krishna prema, asking for more service. Chanting is also a prayer. We are asking for service. Or asking for our desire to read Bhagavatam, to desire to serve Vaishnavas, desire. All these are spiritual desires which are very good. They will lead to freedom from the cycle of birth and death. But material desires or material benedictions are in one way curse, Prabhupada is saying. May become curse. We will see all these benedictions he has. He will later die because of all those combinations. Harsha Shoka, Maharaj Chitraketu, he wanted a child, but that same child became a curse actually, because a cause of lamentation. Bhasmasura asked for the benediction. I want that if anyone's head I put my hand upon, then he will be roasted. That same boon, that same material benediction became a curse because he died, because Lord Vishnu tricked him to put his own hand on his head, and he was roasted by the same benediction. There's some multiple examples are there that how material desires or material benedictions become a cause of suffering, a cause of lamentation. But spiritual desires, spiritual hankering, spiritual benedictions are become a cause of freedom. So that means one should not ask for curses for oneself because in one way material benedictions are like curses, and if we ask for material benedictions, we are asking for curses for ourselves. So not a very healthy idea to ask for those. And later, the story of Dhruva Maharaj, he was lamenting, what did I ask for? I asked for these broken pieces of glasses. He was lamenting on his own thoughts. So, and then Prabhupada mentioned that if we ask for material benedictions, we will be lamenting later, because we are asking for curses, in short. So that means, again and again, this point coming in multiple, cantos of Srimad Bhagvatam, that those who ask material benedictions, ultimately, it becomes a problem. But those who ask spiritual benedictions, their destination is topmost, back home, back to Godhead. Any other comments anyone has?
Just one point about material benediction. I think yes, having no desire is the best. But if one has material desires, even if that person goes to the Supreme Lord instead of demigods, that will purify the person ultimately. Like you already mentioned about Dhruva Maharaj, he didn't. When he saw the Lord, he didn't want to ask any benediction. So that is also a difference we can see here between Hiranyakashipu and Dhruva Maharaj. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Any other comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So you very nicely said, the material benedictions are equal to the curses, and in fact, I, thought of like even a curse from a pure devotee like Narada Muni or, Mother, Parvati and all is actually a boon, benediction for the spiritual life. Thank you, Prabhuji.
That's a really nice point. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The one observation is here. Hiranyakashipu is very knowledgeable about the supreme knowledge. Like he knows about the soul. He knows about all the different expansions of Lord's different like internal power, external power, and marginal power. But one thing is, Lord Brahma didn't tell him that, Hiranyakashipu, you can be immortal, just if you think about that soul. The soul is immortal. You are thinking about body which is not immortal. He didn't give that advice to Hiranyakashipu. So one observation in that regard is that, as you mentioned, that it could be that because Lord Brahma understood that he has a lot of enviousness, and because of that, he didn't want to give that advice. So that's one, observation in the whole here. But on the other hand, we see that Maharaj Chitraketu or Narada Muni Karsh, Nalakuber, Monigriba, there Maharaj Chitraketu didn't have the enviousness. Because of that, even though he got the curse, but that curse was ultimately a benediction. Same with, so we see that like because of the enviousness, even the devotees also, sometimes they don't like to give the correct or helpful advice, which will be helpful for our spiritual life. Back to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice point. Because he was not fit enough to receive it, right? That's very nice. Anyone else before we stop today?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So in the previous chapter, we see that when the demigods got terrified by Hiranyakashipu's tapasya, austerities, rather than going directly to the Vishnu, actually they approached Lord Brahma. And ultimately they brought forth themselves bigger problem. Even Lord Indra was kicked out from his heavenly planet. So we see that even the demigods themselves make mistakes, not going to the appropriate place what to pray for or surrender. So if they surrender to the Lord Krishna at the first beginning, they did not have to go to the second part of suffering that started after they received the benediction from Lord Brahma. Back to Prabhuji.
I would like be a little careful in calling that a mistake. It's not exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Bhadra Prabhu, you were saying something?
Yeah. Well, all the demigods, they don't go directly to Vishnu. Brahma is the creator. He is the in a sense universe, in charge of the universe, you can say in one sense. So then when there any difficulties are coming, they are going, we see again and again, they go to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma goes to the bank of this, what do you call the bank of the ocean, whatever it is, and then he is praying to the Lord Vishnu that this is what my universe is having the difficulties. So please. And then the Lord Vishnu is giving all, okay, what I'm going to do, what is the reason, why. We see again in case of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was performing tapasya and whole universe was completely suffocated. So they all went, and then Brahma said, Lord Vishnu said, Brahma, don't worry, this is my devotees. That's one thing. What I wanted to make a point here is that in the last chapter we saw that how tapasya of Hiranyakashipu terrorized whole universe practically. We are facing the same situation, not exactly the same situation, but part of the situation we are facing today in this on this planet. To be closed, the whole planet would turn off. It has happened after I don't know how many years. Someone was saying after 100 years it has happened like this. You see. So whatever the powers are there, I'm not going to go into political reasons here. That's not my business. But the point is that whoever they are, whatever they did it, how these demoniac persons are doing these things on this planet, just like Hiranyakashipu now is going to terrorize here everything. The whole thing. So here this is what's happening at present. So this shows us what is our shelter for the devotees and for everybody else in this situation. The shelter is the Lord. He's showing us again and again and again. Now, of course, it was not like Hiranyakashipu was like he was completely terrorized everything, and everything because he was kind of more powerful. Here is not the situation, as again I'm saying, it's not the same situation, but it's partly the situation is there here where this is what is happening. And it is good that the devotees, and I'm not just from the ISKCON devotees, but devotees all over the world, other parts, devotees, Christians who Christians and all. I mean, everybody's terrorized by this situation, and everybody's praying, and this is good. This is good. and that's why we are having this holy name, going on now worldwide, because that's a solution. That's a solution we have in this situation. So this is the one point. It's nice to keep in mind. Thank you, Prabhu.
So much, Prabhuji. Okay, I think we will stop here and continue tomorrow. And as I already requested before, that tomorrow we'll read from 8 to 9 instead of 9 to 10. So I hope we all can fit it in our schedules. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Antakoti Vaishnavind ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.